Hey everyone, this is Alvin in behalf of Neil Napier and the rest of the KV social team. So before I get started, I just want to make sure that you can hear me. Just give me a quick yes or one if both audio and video is working for you. Alright, so let me just check. Alright, perfect. Alright, so today we'll be talking about week 4 of the training for press label. Alright, so before we actually talk about week 4, we'll need to do a quick recap of what we talked about in the previous weeks. All right. So again, week 4 is going to be about systemizing your process so that you can make money. You can take $2,000 of sales even without having to deal with all the processes yourself. All right. So it's all about systemizing everything so that you can streamline and you don't have to spend so much time instructing your outsourcers or your VAs to do all the work for you. All right. Now on this call, we're gonna be on the week 4 training. We're gonna focus on ready to go processes to ensure that you can do this week in week out. Second is we're gonna talk about additional contracts with clients to make sure you get paid, and of course you can how you can do upsells as well. And of course, step 3 is gonna be a 3-step process to systemize web development businesses without any additional work. All right. So before we get to week 4, let's talk about the first week of the training. All right, so in week 1, we actually discussed how to use press label and how to find clients who are looking for the exact kind of exact kind of services that you can offer using press label. All right, how to find clients that are ready to shell out $2,000 for a ready to go website that they can use right away with all the customization that you can use, or you can just custom you can do with the press label plugin. All right, now before you actually sell anything, before you create the website, you need to you need to understand 4 things from your client. First is what kind of website do they need? Do they need an e-commerce website? Do they need a blog? Do they need a simple landing page to just to brand out or just to show the branding of of their products, right? Second, why do clients need it? Do they need it to increase brand awareness? Do they need to make more sales? So you need to understand what is their primary need. Now, usually you can tell them, give me the top 3 priority that you have when creating a website. What do you want to get out of it? Do you want it to get more followers on social media, or would you want it to stream? Would you want it to offer like deliveries? Like you don't have to it's gonna the website is gonna show up like an e-commerce website or like a store, so they can just do deliveries instead of having to have a storefront. So it actually really depends on what your client is looking for. All right, and most important is, when do they need it? Are you able to deliver within the time frame that client needs it? And of course the client's mindset as well. Now what I can tell you is this: if your client does not value, right, or understand the value of a website, then that's going to be a very hard person to please. That's why when you target client, really, you look for clients, you look for people who have already tried to do online marketing. That's why you go to YouTube, for example, and look for yellow pages and contact each and every business there that has hired yellow pages to create a video for them, because these are the kind of companies that are already looking for the exact for the exact service or the online service that they need for their business. You don't need to really don't have to really explain and help them and make them understand what your business is all about. They already understand what it's all about. You just need to reach out of them, and that's what we call as pre-qualified buyers. All right. Now, again, we discussed this in detail on week one. So if you want to learn more about this, definitely go and watch the first week of the video so that you can get all the details. So right now we're just going through the summary of what we discussed on the previous weeks. All right. So on the second part, we also discussed how to search for clients. Now, local businesses with terrible websites. These are the people these are the clients that you're looking for. Those who have tried but failed. All right. Online businesses with terrible websites. Low-hanging fruits. These are like these two alone, right? There's a lot of them. If you go to Yellow Pages on YouTube, you'll find a lot of local business there trying to advertise, trying to get their message across YouTube, but it's barely getting any kind of traffic. And these are what you call the low-hanging fruits. Aside from that, you can also go with Upwork and Elance, or just Upwork right now, and go and look for local businesses. Look for, let's say, do a quick search, right? Look for jobs specific to, let's say, a flower shop, a local, just type in a local business, for example. Just type in local business, and you'll see that there's a lot of people there, a lot of local business owners trying to get trying to look for a freelancer that can create a website for them, and you can contact them instead of offering your service as a freelancer, but contacting them as a a company. And that actually also gives you the kind of leverage that, well, that will be able to negotiate better prices. All right. So on week one, we also did on how to give quick samples to ensure your clients are ready to pay you immediately. Right? Remember that you need to show a sample, a concrete example, or it could also be a competing website so that they have a better understanding of what they need. Because most of them, the reason why they also fail is because they don't exactly understand what features they want on the site. This actually helps you explain as well how, and what should be the priority and what are the end results for each and every function of their site. All right, so um, with on this module, we'll also talk about what to do if you're a developer, understand what features they need, and understand if it's complicated or something that you can do pretty much with templated um, themes or plugins. All right, so again, evaluating their needs is very, very important, especially if it comes to pricing. Simply hire a developer that to give you an idea, all right, just to give you an estimate on how much it would cost. Second is to work within their budget, but don't commit to a price. If these set features are not written to be limited to only that, don't set a budget. All right, and look at what others are bidding, especially if it's going to be something that is very similar to what your client is really what your client wants in a website. All right, again, we'll also talk about preparing samples, see what the top sites are in their niches, give them samples to ask them what they want, and of course get a detailed breakdown of their needs. You can look at, like, say, for example, or you can look at the big websites and list down the top 5 features that you think your clients need, and you can show them the competing website, the big website, and then just tell them why you think these are the top features to add on your site, and the rest can follow later on, in which you can actually do an upsell for that. All right. So about the three-step process to qualify your clients to ensure that they pay you upfront is you have a few questions that you need to ask. First, how would you like to use how would they like to use it on their business? right? Do they have any other online business assets right now? Do they have an online video? Do they have a sales video, an opt-in video, a Facebook ad, a YouTube ad, right? These are the details that you need to learn. You need to know so to give you a better understanding on what they expect from you and what are their long-term plans with this website. Are they planning to scale it up, or just planning to just have a website just because they want a website, right? Because being able to scale it up means you want some kind of flexibility or leeway with either the server or the way the site is built. All right, and how much they can afford to spend. If it's small business, if say for example it's going to be a business that has a net worth of around, let's say, 20 grand, $20,000, $30,000, then offering $1,000, a $2,000 price may not be something for you. Instead, you can offer profit sharing. All right. And when do they need the website? Do they need it before Cyber Monday? Do they need it before Good Thursday? That have an exact date and when they need it so that you can have a deadline for you and for your team to meet. Third is, do they expect ongoing support? Right? This includes updates, this includes bug fixes, right? And of course, simply read what people are asking for and prep questions accordingly. All right? So, when you get a website, there aside from getting a coder, you also need a designer. Now, you need to focus on web designers, not just simple graphic designers. Remember that not every graphic designer can create a website design, a website layout, but a website layout or designer can also be your graphic artist. It doesn't always it's not what we call uh, vice versa. Website designers can also be your graphic designers, but graphic designers are not always going to be website designers. All right. So with this, when you're hiring a designer, you need to look at the ready to go or experience plus portfolio. All right. They usually have, hey, you can tell them what kind of website have you designed before? Have you designed any kind of opt-in page, or do you have a blog that you have designed as well? Now that's going to become their portfolio. Now, when it comes to developers, there are a few things to consider, especially if you're working with WordPress. Do not focus on the web developers for Joomla, Java, SQL. Instead, focus on PHP developers, PHP and HTML, because WordPress works with PHP or the PHP platform. So if they understand the basic code of of the WordPress platform, they can easily become WordPress developers as well. And you can even charge your clients higher if the site has highly customized designs and up to $100 per page, especially if it has animation as well. Now, how do you fact check if ever you hire someone? Again, no portfolio, don't go with it. If they don't have a portfolio, it's gonna be a problem. So they don't have any work or previous work experience to show. Well, that means you're gonna be having to explain, or you're gonna be having to like gamble for every single hire. They can also give you, like, if they just graduated or just came out of school, they can you can also give them portfolios from their school publication. Doesn't have to be live websites from clients, from US or UK based clients. It can be for local businesses as well. And of course, you can also cross check with your reference. If there's no number, if there's no email or Skype ID on their character reference, then ask for it. Right? Even just an email will do. Now, what are the major job sites that you can actually go to? First is you have Upwork. Now, Upwork.com might be a bit more expensive, but there are certainly a lot of experienced freelancers can do the work for you. The second option would be jobrack.eu. Now with this, it is going to be mostly of the clients here, or most of the people you'll be able to get here are based on Eastern Europe. All right, so if you are working on a US or UK time zone, it would actually be a lot easier for you to manage because, well, they don't have to work night shifts, unlike if you hire someone from Asia or from India. All right, so we also talked about negotiating with developers. Now, developers can have a steep price, but what you can do, however, is to like minimize the price, is you can focus on long-term relationships, long-term projects. For that, you can actually demand a better price because, well, with a lot of developers, they are usually project based. Now, before you actually open up to hourly basis with your developer, you need to have, right? You need to have a system in place, right? You can have you can ideally you have a project ready developer, right? And that means you can give like a small project, and you can charge them. You can actually give them like an hourly, not hourly, I mean a fixed price, but you still ask them to log in on Upwork, for example, on the tracker, so that you can also track how much time does it take for them to finish that project, to give you a ballpark figure on how much time would others need to spend as well. All right. So again, get a mini project from your client, let's say an opt-in page instead of the entire website, just to get some kind of gist of what it would cost if you get someone to do the work for you. All right. Again, if you're just starting up with a new developer, stick with a project-based platform instead of hourly. Because with a project-based platform, they will actually going to be finishing the project as soon as possible, and this actually gives you look at the information they need and how effective that person is and how much time he or she needs to spend to finish a similar project. Aside from that, if you have limited budget, you can also partner up instead of hiring. So let's say, for example, you can tell the freelancer, hey, I'm charging a client $1,500 for this website. If we partner up, instead of hiring you on a project basis or hourly basis, I can actually give you 30% of the profits. Right? I do all the marketing, I do all the content, for example, and you just do the coding. And remember, don't hire just one person. Get two or three people and then make them compete with each other so that you can actually get the best person out of each scenario. All right? So as for testing developers before you actually hire them, is there are two things. You have interview mocha. Now I actually discussed this on week one of the training as well. So basically, there's like a PHP test there that you can actually get them to do. It shouldn't take them more than 15 minutes to do, and this enables you to make sure that they do have the skills that you need to complete a project. And we also have NDAs, or non-disclosure agreements, and contracts that you can use for your business. It's also available in the members area. All right. So three things to look in or to check in a finished website. So first, make sure that there aren't any plugins that are not necessary. Inactive plugins, or not updated plugins. All right. So these are the few things that you need to check when you have a finished project before you submit it to your client. Number two, it doesn't resemble the competitor's site too much, right? Now, although you can actually use the competitor's website as a base, but it shouldn't be almost like a almost like a copy of it. It should have the same effectiveness, but not exactly the same layout, the same images, the same color. It has to be unique in a way. And third is you can use press label to brand the site as you want and even limit the kind of access that your client has, especially if you offer ongoing support. You don't want your client to mess up with the settings there, because it's gonna be very time consuming if they do keep on erasing plugins themselves or keep on modifying the codes. All right. So again, as I mentioned earlier, the NDAs and contract templates are available in the members area. There's a PDF download that you can do from there. All right. So on week two, just a quick summary for this. We talked about unexposed steps to negotiating and closing deals. Now we also talk about why you should keep your clients happier than you, so that you can have repeat business as well. Now, when you talk to a client, think about being an educator, right? Explain what each feature or what each process involves. And with this, you'll be the more they understand how the process goes, the better they'll be able to understand what your work is all about, and that will actually result to better satisfaction as well. Treat them as if they're a partner, so that they understand how your business goes as well. Now, why do you need to do this? Now, one bad client can actually mean 10, like 10 different ways you can actually lose customers. So focus on repeat business rather than repeating rather than keep on getting new customers, right? Word of mouth recommendation. In most cases, like especially with local businesses, they are members of the business commerce, and they're gonna refer you to other businesses as well, so that um, well, you'll get more customers that way. And especially if you're just starting out, testimonials will help you monetize your products and services a lot better as well. And of course, when you're negotiating for a price, you just can't be someone who says okay for everything. You need to play the good cop and bad cop for your clients to negotiate a better price. Now, first and foremost important tip is never hard sell, right? Yeah, this is what I mean by getting pre-qualified leads as well. Do not get people, or do not get them, like, do not force your way to sell your products and services. Make them want your offer, right? Talk about the benefits, even talk about the competitors as well. If they don't bite, loosen the grip, right? You don't have to make that sale right now. It could be that they could just call back after they realize that they made a big mistake, right? So, and even if they don't, or if they're not interested, if or they show a small interest but you don't think it's enough, tell them that you have another session in a few minutes, and you will have to call back or set an appointment. The idea here is to control the flow of the conversation, so that, well, you can take it anywhere you want, right? So, on week two, we also discussed the win-win negotiation strategy to close any deal that you want. So, for this, is usually um, to close the deal you want, there are a few things that you need to know. First is, what is your primary goal? What do they want at the website? What is your current standing online or offline? Do they have any existing assets? And did they have did they work on any previous online marketing campaigns, Facebook marketing campaigns, right? And third is how to outsource the work to developers so that they do all the work for you. All right. So again, as for outsourcing secrets, we talked about Upwork versus online jobs, as well as jobrack.eu. All right. So it really depends on what geographic location you would prefer. Of course, Upwork would be the most where the most detailed, or where the most experience comes from. Online jobs is based in the Philippines, and JobRack is based on Eastern Europe. Right. So it depends on where you want your team to be based on. All right. So Upwork is a mix and match. It's uh, from Asia, US, UK. Online jobs is strictly from the Philippines, and JobRack is strictly for Eastern Europe. Now, I would say for VAs, Upwork and online jobs is good, but for developers, JobRack is a lot better as well, because there's a lot of like developers based on Ukraine, based in Poland, and usually the prices are actually a lot cheaper compared to Upwork, for example. All right. And second, again, you should know what kind of like marketing or online marketing they have done before, so to better understand, of course, what their what their uh, what the failure was, and what on how you can actually improve what they have failed on before. Right. Third is how to outsource the work to developers so that they can. Well, the idea here is you can run a business you don't where you don't have to do all the work. So of course, outsourcing is a very big factor. Now, when you're interviewing client when interviewing candidates for like for the work, let's give out a scenario. In fact, if you have previously worked with a client before, we actually use a scenario or make the hardest scenario there as a test on how they will be able to go through it. Short practical tests with a deadline, of course, and focus on ability to learn rather than learned skills. Although experience is good, but that experience can also be a double-edged sword. It could mean that that developer is stubborn, right? And he or she will not learn any other a new plugin, new theme, or new system that you have in mind, right? So if you see a person who's ready to learn, who's ready to like, I'm gonna do research on this, work on this, I'm gonna try my best. That is the kind of freelancer that you need, rather than a person who just says that I have not tried this, and I don't want to, I don't think that's gonna work. Right? Again, focus on people who are gonna look for a solution, right? Who's gonna Google the solution for you, rather than just rely on what they already know. All right. So again, okay. Also talk about reject the fixed pie. So when they offer you, let's say, a share of the business, especially for local businesses, do not go with the first offer. Right? Avoid anchoring on the first offer and create value. And you can also give out a client welcome kit even before they sign a contract, so that they know that you're prepared to do business with them. All right. So again, that's week one and week two of the training. Now let's talk about week three. Now, in week three, we focus on getting the best developers for $5 per hour, right? Now, especially when you scale out your outsourcers, you need to talk about job roles a lot seriously. Now, there are two main job roles that you need for um, for a web solution or website creation firm. First is the designer. I think you mentioned this earlier. You're going to be focusing on website designers rather than graphic designers. Because again, website designers can be graphic designers, but not all graphic designers can become web designers. All right. So again, with developers, do a PHP test, right? Because again, the more they understand PHP, the better they are with WordPress as well. And you can charge your clients $100 per page if they really want customized content. I mean customized animation as well. So that, of course, you can also pay your developers. So how to fact check and seek portfolio and cross check with references. Major job sites would be Upwork.com, jobrack.eu for people who are you're looking for that's based on Eastern Europe. All right. So negotiating with developers, ideally, if a project ready, you know your budget, you can test them, get the interview as well. Do a quick test. I think I already discussed everything here on the previous session. All right. So again, when developer tells you that the site is finished, three things to check: make sure there aren't any plugins that are not necessary for the site. All right, or if they can, you can also check if it's inactive, or you can even make your developer explain each plugin and what it does and why is it there. Second is it doesn't contain or doesn't resemble too much of the competitor's website. And third is to control access and to give a more custom feel to to your client so that they understand that it's something that is simple to use instead of like having all the buttons there that they can actually just delete or they can actually make a mistake on that. It's better to control the access that they have so that they can be less problems as well, especially if they're not very tech savvy. All right, so let's talk about week 4. Now, week 4 is all about systemizing the entire process so that you don't have to struggle with every project in every turn. All right, so again, on week 4 is we're gonna focus on 3 things. We're gonna focus on ready to go processes that ensure that you can do it. You can do the work whether you're vacationing or at home, and whether you have like 8 hours to spend every day or less than 30 minutes in a week. And second, we're also going to talk about additional contracts with clients that you can make sure that you can get paid more than originally would you would have been paid to. All right, you've been paid because again, when a client offers or when a client agrees to a project, that it doesn't mean that you only have to stick with that project. You can offer something more, right? Let's say if they ask you to build a blog website, you can tell them, hey, I can get more traffic to your blog by advertising on Facebook, Twitter, and all social media accounts. Third is going to be a 3-step process to systemize web development business without any additional work for you. So let's talk about the creating the processes and the documents you need to streamline everything. Now, writing the process, although it's a pain, um, I did struggle with it when I first got started. Writing the process actually makes it easier for everyone to follow and also easier to replicate the same results, and most importantly, streamline the process by outsourcing it. Because if you have the exact step-by-step instructions on how work is going to get done, even if you have a developer that just started with your team, he or she can work on that project very effectively because you have already set a good process that he or she can follow instead of like everything that you have to wing in everything. That's going to be a big problem, especially for those who've just joined your team because they don't know where to go, who to go to, and what they need in order to complete the project. So standards must be set in order to streamline everything. All right, now when it comes to streamlining the process, you need 2 things. First is you need to have some kind of project management platform. All right, some like kind of like a checklist that every outsourcer or every employee that you have in your company needs to check to make sure that quality is maintained for every single client that you give them. Second is you need to make sure you have the storage for collaborative data, right? Especially if you're doing any kind of marketing. If you're doing any kind of marketing, you have to have like Excel sheets to track all the results, the clicks, the conversion rates, everything there. So storage is the key because you can't just save it on your computer and expect your VA or your employee to give you an updated file every single day. That will be a lot of it's gonna be a lot of work for you as well because you have to keep on checking every single day for any reports or any collaborative data that you need to check. You need to streamline that process, and we're gonna talk about that in a bit as well. All right. So talking about project management, there are actually two platforms that we have tried. First is we have Asana, and second is we have Trello. So let me actually in KV Social we used to use Trello, but we actually noticed that Asana worked better for us. Now it's not always doesn't always mean that Asana will always gonna work better for you. It just depends on what kind of project management do you need. Now since we do have a larger team, In fact, we have the developers, like I think 6 or 8 of them based on Eastern Europe, and like other teams um, based on Bangladesh, based on the Philippines. So it's that around a 20 man team. So this is actually the reason why Asana worked for us better. If you have a smaller team, Trello is also a good option to use. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the the Asana template that we use for every single promo and every single launch that we do. All right, so let me show you this. Let me just share my screen here so that you can also see what the process is. All right, so before I continue, is everything, can you see the screen right now? You should be able to see the Asana with all the tasks there that's assigned to me. All right, perfect. Now let me actually show you the template that we use. Let's say, for example, now again, this is not the exact science. We just like listed everything we need to see here. So for first is we have the JV page plus Munch Eye. So this is going to be listed. It's going to be assigned most likely to me. As you can see, it's basically like a checklist of what needs to be done on the JV page, on the Munch Eye page, what needs to be done on the pre-launch page, on the thank you page, the demo sales videos, who's going to do it, right? Again, all the instructions here. So again, once I've done the demo, I can just put the link on the comment here. Check this one so that again everyone uh, knows that this part of the project has already been completed. Now again, your project management platform should work something like a checklist where you have like each single detail there checked out. So in your case, when you're creating an e-commerce page, for example, you can just say that product images, PayPal integration, is it mobile responsive? So all of this is something that you can actually look for, or you can actually create a template for whenever you manage a project. All right. Again, you make sure you have like a template that you can use for project management. Now again, there are going to be special scenarios, but then again you can just add a new task there. But then again, those special scenarios is of course only specific to that project. So when you get a new project again, you can just like use the same template over and over again so that you don't miss out on anything and you can follow the exact same quality, whether it's going to be your first client or your 100th client. It's very easy for you to make sure that because you followed a quick checklist on what to do with every single project that you have. All right, so let me just go back to the presentation here and let's talk about the storage platform instead. And again, especially if you're doing any kind of design, you need to have a storage wherein you can collaborate on the kind of work that that is done with your client. So there are two platforms that's very popular right now. First is Google Docs. It can be presentations. This can be images. So you can actually set up a Google Docs account or Google Drive account, and then they can just upload all the images there, the Excel files, the Word documents as well. So it's actually easier for you to have collaborative work. Now, if you do want to use a cloud platform but you don't want to use Google, you can also use Dropbox. Now, Dropbox is good, especially if you have a smaller team of less than, let's say, 5 people. But if you do need like real-time changes to be done, then Google Docs would be your best option instead. All right. Now, let's talk about building a team to outsource. When you build a team, you need to make sure you factor in the kind of managers that will actually help you well manage the project, right? Because especially if you have, let's say you have a client coming in every single week and you have a full-time job, you would like to get a manager that can help you streamline the process. But there are a couple of things you need to look into before you hire a manager, right? So four things is first is they need to be logical. They understand how the business works. Second, if they need to be self-motivated. So you can actually see them, like if especially if Upwork, you can see them doing research. You can see them like leading a project, even if like they're not asked to do it. They're motivated to do more. Third is they're willing to focus on the goals. And fourth is they involve the team rather than just doing everything themselves, right? Because these are the things that you avoid as well. Now, what you need to avoid, especially when hiring managers, is that you need to look for people who are logical or ready to take any step necessary to complete that project. Because with emotional managers or emotional drivers, the problem with that is, hey, for this day they might not be feeling well, or they don't take criticism well. They take it as an attack against their skills or how do they work. Second is negative enforcer. That means these are the managers that tells that tells other people in the team, hey, you have to work on the weekend, otherwise you're fired. Those are the kind of people that you don't want to work with because they actually drag the entire team down as well. Third is the slacker. If they're not prepared to do the work on weekends, or if they're not, if it, they keep on saying, hey, I need to go to the gym right now, I'll just come back to it whenever I can. Don't. These are the kind of managers that you need to avoid. Because remember, each project that you do has a strict deadline, and they need to understand the deadline is going to be the deadline. It's not going to. You're not doing this just for fun. You're doing this to make money as well. All right. Now, once you get a manager to help you with your business, you can then focus on building a team. Now, again, if you notice, it's not the way it's structured. You need to get a manager first before you build a team around that person. Because if you get a because if you get someone who like like an employee first rather than getting a manager, that's gonna be very difficult as well. Now, there there are actually also going to be some major factors. Let's say, for example, you want to manage the business first before you build a team, right? So what you can do is essentially when that first employee that you hire is going to be your team manager. Why? Because he already understands what your concept is, how everything works, and with that, you can easily like upgrade that person into a manager and build a team around him or her, right? The first person you hire is essentially going to be a good prospect to be your manager. If they're not willing to take, if they're not willing to take the responsibility, they're not ready to level up, then you might as well consider getting a new freelancer instead, or another person to help you with your project. Because remember, you're looking for long-term relationships with the people that you know is going to take care of your business as if it's their own. If they don't want to level up, that means they don't really care. All right. So again, build a team around your manager, not the other way around. Get everyone to take a disc test and a personality test. Let me actually show you some examples as well. Now, this test is going to help you gauge who works well with who and what task or position is best suited for that person. Let me give you some sample data as well. All right, so let me just share my screen here. Now, the links for this are going to be available in the members area within 24 hours today. But let me show you some quick data as well before um, before I show everything. Let me just get that here. All right, just to make sure, can everyone see my screen right now? All right, now these are just a few of the tasks that you can take. So there are three things that we're gonna measure. All right. So first is we're gonna measure the other person's personality. Second, their team role, and third is gonna be their work value. All right. So let me actually show you team roles as well. Now, as you can see, there are like specific types of people here, or specific types of categories for each person. Now, actually, this is going to be my these are actually my results. So as you can see, I scored high on the chairman level. That means I best work best with coordinating roles, right? I be best work with coordinating people with who and what, right? So it's all about communication for me. And equally, the explorer means um, I'm pretty much interested with anything, right? That I can improvise and communicate with others as well, presenting new ideas and developing new contacts. Now, for this too, that means this person, or in my case, me, would be a good fit for managing the team because I have very strong coordinating um, features. All right, but however, if the person is an analyst or right or an analyst or an innovator, these this person might not be a good um, leader because they actually tend to complete the work themselves, right? They have the tendency to be reserved or critical. That means they take time to make decisions, right? And of course, they're very reserved as well, so they interaction with other team members could be a problem. So if your employee scores high as an analyst or innovator, that means that person is more of a self um, or an individual rather than the team, the person managing the entire team. Now let's talk about work values. This is actually equally as important as well with team roles. Now with work values, you need to make sure what this actually shows you what they prioritize on, especially on how they work with others, right? So for example, with this case, so this actually person scores really high on social relationships. So it's not about the money. It's about the person being able to share his or her experience with other members of the team, and of course building a friendly relationship with other team members as well. Now, if you have a person who's focused on wealth, especially if it's a graphic designer or a developer, well, it sad to say that is not that person might not be a good match for you because they focus on getting paid instead of instead of building or getting like a long-term relationship with your business. They also have status. Now with status is that these are the kind of people who would like to who stay within the company because they feel that they can they have a career goal that they need to that they can accomplish with you, right? Again, you have status as you have service and dedication as well. Now, especially if your support personnel or VA has a higher service dedication to a cause, that means that person is definitely uh, a, a good employee when it comes to loyalty instead. All right. So you have autonomous, you have power. With power, this is good for managers, but for developers or for VAs, this is not a good trade. So again, this actually helps you what works better for each and single employee. Now, the disk. All right, is basically their individual um, personality. All right. So as you can see, this person, for example, scored very high in dominance. That means this is a person who will take, right, who will take action based on what he wants done. Right. So for example, here are the traits, some traits of behaviors that describe who are comparatively high in dominance. They enjoy competition and a challenge. Are they're goal oriented and wants to organize their efforts, aim high, and want authority, and generally resourceful and adaptable. Right. And but here's the problem: they may lose interest in projects once the challenge is gone, and they tend to be impatient and dissatisfied with minor details. All right. So again, of course, there's going to be pros and cons for each single um, personality score here. For let's say a dominance or a dominant person, right, would actually going to would actually take a lot of risk instead of just relying on uh, relying on like security. All right. So for example, dominance is actually the exact opposite of steadiness. These are people who are usually calm, patient, and willing to accept the help of others, and generally focus on security and make sure that they don't change anything in their work. So if you have a developer, for example, right? You have a developer. It's actually best to have them as as a dominant or influencer rather than a steadiness or a compliant person. But for let's say a VA, it's best to have compliance instead, which are gonna be they score high on. Now remember that after they get or after you finish the test, right? You also get this report as well that you can read through to see which member actually works better for your current roster right now. All right. Again, this is very important to see which one is like which person are you looking for and how they can match the entire team. Now you can also take the test yourself so that you also know which person or which kind of employee would actually going to work better with. All right. So guys, I do hope everything's clear so far on how to use the personality test as well to again to better build a team that you can actually grow with rather than just build it right now and then you have to hire a new entire team every single day, every single project. Again, the idea here is to create a team that understands exactly what you need, exactly what you want from them, so that when the more projects you have, the process will be streamlined so that you don't have to pitch in every single day. So you can just let them do all the work. You just check, and even some even just say that they don't even have to check anymore because they rely or they have a really good team that understands quality or the kind of quality that is expected out of them. All right. Now, as for the personality test, it's gonna be available by within 24 hours. I'm gonna add it to the members area, and you just see the three test results there that you can forward to your other candidates or to your employees as well. All right. So let's actually talk about reselling and upselling the current well to your current clients. Now remember that just because they hired you to create a website, that you are only going to be doing just that, right? So you can actually resell and upsell other services that you might be offering. You can talk about if you have a developer, especially if you have a PHP developer, you can offer them plugin development, or you can offer them like converting their website into a mobile app, right? And submitting it to Google Play. You can also offer video creation, or you can do SEO or search engine optimization or video SEO if they're doing, and if they already have a video asset on YouTube, for example, and you can say, hey, I can actually help you get that video, get more people to watch it on YouTube. You can also focus on social media marketing as well. So if they have a fan page that is not getting a lot of buzz, you can also help your clients with that and offer it as a service. Now, are you going to charge monthly or one time? Now, what I would suggest, especially for social media marketing and uh, video creation, right? You can actually charge either both hourly or monthly for this. But however, if it's gonna be ones that they only want to do it once. So let's say, for example, for plugin development, it's gonna be project based. Uh, for video creation, it can be it it can be project based or hourly, depending on how many videos they need. Third is going to be SEO or video SEO. This can be monthly, and social media marketing can also be monthly as well. All right. So again, it really depends on the kind of services you're offering to make sure that um, they do get the most value out of the service that you are working. All right. So guys, I do hope everything's making sense so far. Just give me a quick yes or upvote if you think everything is making sense so far. Right? If you have any questions, just let me know in the chat. I'll be here to answer any questions you may have about week 4 or the previous other weeks as well. All right. Yeah. So about the replay, it's going to be available by 24 hours. You just need to check in the members area for that. All right. So let me actually open up um, my press label account here as well, so that I can actually also show you where to find the replay and the downloadable links as well. All right. So just give me one quick second here. Let me just check. All right. Let me see. All right. So let me just share my screen here. All right, so once you log into your press label account, this is actually normally what you will see. All right, so from here, let me just check. Yes, from here, you just need to go to training, and you will see the replay here as well as the downloadable links. For example, the non-disclosure agreement here, template, the employee contract is also here, and of course, the week 4 trading is here as well. It's going to be added here, and of course, there's going to be a notification on when the week 5 or the bonus training is going to be scheduled for. Now, usually we schedule this on a Thursday. So please do expect the week 5 training on Thursday at the same time, 3 p.m. Eastern as well. All right. So let's actually go back to the presentation because I think we have one more module that we need to discuss, which is going to be how to collaborate with specialists to do all the work for you. And remember that, especially for example, if your clients are looking for a social media marketing expert and um, you don't have someone who's gonna do that for them, is you can actually look for other teams that can help you with that. and you can just collaborate with that specialist to do all the work for you, so you don't have to just stick with what. And of course, you can also learn the process so that later on you can do the work. Now, again, it's best to have a network of people or other teams that can actually offer or extend the services for you, so that you're just gonna be not limited to just one specific field or have to expand your team rapidly to fill that job order. Right? Again, get a team. Let's say, for example, you have a team to contact about video creation, you have another team to contact about SEO, another team to contact about social media marketing. And of course, they can just tell them, hey, I got this client is looking for this. Um, I can set up everything for you. You're gonna be doing all the work, but I'll handle all the billing, and we just either you you pay them either a flat fee, or you can just share the profits instead for each and single for every client that you can actually get an upsell for. All right, so guys, let's now down to the Q&A. So let me know if you have any questions as well. All right. Yeah. Press label. Yes, it works. It can also support the well. There's a new version of press label that has been added. I think you should be able to update it from your plugin page on WordPress, and with that upgrade, you can also make it work with the latest WordPress 4.5. All right. So yeah, let me know if there are any additional questions. If press label will responsive, yes, of course. Of course, it's gonna depend on your WordPress theme. If it's responsive, then yes, of course, press label will work as well, whether they log in either through a mobile phone or to a desktop. It doesn't matter as long as they're going to, as long as the site is mobile responsive by as it is based on the theme, press label will work with that. And again, there's no limitation if you have optimized press. If you have other plugins, other themes on your website, it doesn't really matter. Press label can work alongside with any plugins or just about any plugins that you can think of. All right, so guys, let me know if there are additional questions. Yep. Next session is going to be the week 5 or the bonus webinar training. It's going to be Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. All right. So guys, I don't see any other questions coming in, so definitely we'll wrap things up. Now, if you have any questions or need help with anything, you can contact our support at kvsocial.zendesk.com. Now, I do hope you were able to enjoy the webinar and apply these techniques or this system to your business so that you can start making money and, of course, build a team that can enable you to work just about anywhere. All right. So, guys, once again, thank you for joining the call, and I hope to see you on the next webinar on Thursday, 3 p.m. Bye, guys.